And a lot of this stems from, so when we met, I had already, back in my early 20s, I was diagnosed.
A couple of years ago?
It was a little bit of time ago. Like, that's how I know how old I am. I have to think, how old is my oldest daughter? so my age ranges, they go from, for the kids, 26 down to 11. And and they're just stair-stepped all the way down. And when my oldest daughter, right after I had her, I dealt with severe health issues. And during that time, there wasn't a whole lot of connection with natural alternative things to be able to pull together with that. And I was diagnosed with what's called ITP. And
yes.
All right, Fred.
Tell me a little bit about it.
So it is a rare autoimmune disorder that affects your platelets. So your immune system attacks the platelets.
Wow.
And the platelets are the cell fragments that are made from these cells in our bone marrow called plasma cells. And these cell fragments are the ones that help form blood clots.
Is this what Rasputin could cure?
So, no, Rasputin was dealing with hemophilia. So that was a coagulation factor.
It is an episode on House.
Yes. So ITP, or idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura, ITP.
I like how you just knew that word.
That's why I have to just say ITP. They're like, what is it you got? I'm like, we'll defer.
Yes. And so you start having bleeding in the smallest venules in your skin. So you start getting these pinpoint hemorrhages called petechiae, or otherwise known as a purpura. So appropriate testing was done. It was determined her platelet level was probably 20,000 or less. How low did you get?
Yes, it ended up getting down to 6, and they didn't think I'd make it through the night. So
God bless.
Yes.
I had a panel of oncologists come in when I was in the hospital, and they said, we don't think you're going to make it through the night.
And you were how old at the time?
And I had just delivered my second child, and I was 22.
Yeah. So what happened, the normal level of platelets is over 400,000. Okay, in general, I don't want to get into all of the details.
Right. We want to keep
when
the
she's
listener.
at 6.
6,000.
6,000.
So I had internal bleeding, and
Yes.
you could see blood spots on my arm, just large whelps. I was bleeding inside, and they were worried about
Spontaneously.
Right. So what? So
so
how'd you get through the night?
So, which is amazing. A nurse came to me and she said, well, why don't you write a letter to your 2 daughters? And if you're not going to make it through the night, just, to be able to leave with them. I tried to stay up all night. I just stared at a blank sheet of paper. I mean, how do you sum up a whole lifetime of words for a mom in one letter? And I just prayed for another day. I fell asleep.
Your kids were babies.
Yeah, they wouldn't have ever known me. They were so little. I woke up the next day very thankful that I had another day, and I happened to be visited by a friend who said, have you ever thought of seeing a natural doctor? And now at the time, like I said, there was not the blend in this time in the 90s. And so I said, no, I haven't. And I come from a very medical family, and it just is not really in our DNA to do that. And she said, well, I think you should see this person. So I ended up telling my oncologist that I needed to leave the hospital. And he said, well, you're playing Russian roulette with your life. If you leave, you could die. If you hit something, you could just start bleeding. And then he later came back in and he said, you know what? If someone said if I could stand on my head, I might make it. He goes, I would stand on my head. He goes, so I'll release you. And I did. I went.
Oh, wow. That's so... What a blessing.
It was amazing. And so after going through a lot of tests, the main thing was I had to eliminate a lot of the sugars and complex carbohydrates out of my diet completely. So
a calorie is just a calorie.
Not exactly.
No, like and I was also struggling with early stages of leukemia during the time. So I ended up for 30 days, I went on only natural supplements and I did a lot of fasting as well, which I know right now the trend is intermittent fasting, and I did. And
I'm in the middle of one right now.
Oh, you are? So it was to help shut down the digestive system because I was using too much energy to process. And at the stage I needed to take more extreme measures. After that, I went back. And I went in the patient room, and he pulled me out, and he said, come here. I went into his office. He closed the door. He goes, what did you do? I said, what do you mean? He goes, you must have been on massive steroids. You must have done
IVIG.
Yes. I said, no. I said, well, a lot of prayer first. I said, but fasting and nutrition, I changed my diet. And he goes, I need to know everything you were taking and what you were doing because my platelets were normal in that test.
Isn't that impressive?
How many days?
I was 30 days.
Impressive. You don't hear about these things too. Oh, no.
So most people that have really bad health and have really bad outcomes and they just feel hopeless and they think there's no hope. And then you hear a story like yours that just 30 days of doing the right thing, that's just 1 month.
1 month.
If you can get
Amazing.
from whatever day of month you are, if you can just get to the next month.
But, then April after that, of course, modified her entire diet and shared it. And I know she wrote...
That's how I live right now.
That impressed you?
A little bit, maybe.
Sorry.
So, yeah. Out of that, I have been living this lifestyle over 20 years.
Yes.
I did start also a nutrition restaurant in Spring, Texas.
Yes.
Oh, we have something in
Do you know what it was called? Tell the name.
Skinny Pig, because you can pig out and still say skinny. But it really was a place that catered to anyone who had celiac, diabetic.
Yeah.
If you have diabetes and you're
I literally had a restaurant like that.
Food intolerances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was called B-Raw
Really?
Yes.
with my ex-wife,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah. They
I
did.
love that
Here in
name,
Dallas.
too.
B-Raw.